So we just got off one of the largest cruise ships in the entire world, Royal Caribbean's Wonder of the Sea. And so we went as a family of 5 on a 7-day cruise throughout the Caribbean during spring break. And so in this week's video, we're gonna give you a full review of Wonder of the Seas, both as the ships, the amenities, the prices, etc. But how was it during the busy spring break? So without further ado, let's get into it and cue that intro.
What's up YouTube? Trevi from the Adventure Buddies, the modern travel family, bringing you another video filled with tips, tricks, and inspiration to make sure you maximize your next family adventure, like we always do here at the Adventure Buddies.
So if you're new to this channel, welcome. My name is Matt from the Adventure Buddies, and make sure you hit that red subscribe button down below, because on this channel we provide tons of travel tips, honest travel reviews, and inspiration to inspire you and your family for your next family adventure or vacation. So without further ado, let's get into our full review of Wonder of the Seas. So as I mentioned in the intro, Wonder of the Seas is one of the largest cruise ships in the entire world. However, it's not number one. It was recently dethroned by Icon of the Seas, but don't get me wrong, this ship is equally as massive and impressive. So let's get into a few ship facts to just depict how massive this ship really is. Wonder of the Seas is absolutely massive, spanning in length of just under 1,200 feet long, so multiple football fields, 18 decks high, 16 of which you can access as a guest. Speaking of guests, this ship can house just under 7,000 guests, plus 2,000 crew members. So inside of here, there are a ton of amenities, and so let's go through the embarkation process to get checked in, and let's start exploring. So first, let's talk about the embarkation process on Wonders of the Seas. And so with large ship, ton of people, we were initially worried about this. However, Royal Caribbean made this process seamless. So they give you a lot of information up front. So this is information that you're gonna be able to fill out ahead of even getting to the ship. So we're talking about your health screening, we're talking about passenger information, we're talking about luggage tags. Plus, they're going to give you a time in which you can actually board. And so it's important that you do all that prep work ahead of time, because that's going to make sure that your process to get checked in is a breeze. So much so that not only were we able to get in and out of that check-in process in under 15 minutes, we actually did 30 minutes before our scheduled time. So that means we were able to go up to the pool, hit the water slides before the rest of the crowd started to come in. So next, let's talk about the rooms here on Wonders of the Seas. And this is something we were initially surprised with. And so we're gonna go over 3 different types of rooms that you can get here. And now you can get various upgrades, etc. for more money, but these are 3 of the most common rooms that you can get on Wonder of the Seas. So here on Wonder of the Seas, there are 3 main different types of staterooms that you get to pick from. So they are going to vary in price, and we ultimately picked the last one because it was the cheapest one, and we're not really in the room all that much. But you get to first pick between 2 different types of balconies in the first 2 rooms. So you can take a balcony with the ocean view, or because of how wide the ship actually is, they were able to create an inner balcony. So that was a balcony room that actually opened up and you had a view of Central Park down below. So you're on floor 15 or 10 or etc. You're gonna be able to look all the way down to floor 8, where they have a nice central New York City style garden. However, the other room is just an inside cabin. So this is the cabin that's going to be in the inside track of the actual ship, so right there in the middle, but it's not going to have any windows. And so it is noted that it could be a bit claustrophobic. It could be more susceptible to someone getting seasick because you don't have that breeze or that window, etc. But we didn't plan on being in that room all that much, and so we're also trying to save a couple dollars. And so we chose to do the inner cabin, and absolutely enjoyed it. So let's get into some of the things that we enjoy most about these rooms. So being that we picked the cheapest room available, that being in the inner cabin, we'll get into prices here later on in the video, we were overly impressed with what we got. We thought that the rooms were actually a lot larger than what we expected, had a ton more storage, and the beds were incredibly comfortable. So much so that it actually made it hard to get up in the morning. And so the bathrooms on top of that were super clean. The water pressure for the shower was top notch. And for reference, I'm 6 foot, and the shower head was able to go up well above my head for a great experience inside that small cabin room. So next, let's get into all the fun amenities here offered on Wonder of the Seas, and bear with me, there are a ton. So let's go ahead and get into it. On Wonders of the Seas, they have a ton of different water amenities for you in all of your pool activities. So they have 4 different pools. They have 10 different whirlpools or hot tubs. They have 3 main water slides, but they also have various splash pads for those younger kids. So they have a younger ones for the babies, but then a little bit older one for the toddlers. And so a ton of different water activities, inclusive of an actual surf simulator. You heard me right, you can go surfing on a cruise ship. So once you got done with the pool and dried off, they had a ton of other activities you could do on board. So they had basketball courts, they had ping pong tables, they had miniature golf, they had more slides. So slides for the kids, or they had the Abyss. The Abyss was actually a 10-story dry slide going off the back from floor 16 all the way down to floor 6. They also had an ice skating rink, they had 2 rock climbing walls, they had a carousel, they had laser tag, they had multiple different theater rooms, they had an arcade, they had a casino, and they also had a spa and a gym with a full track that goes all the way around the ship. So a ton of different amenities here to do on Wonder of the Sea. One of the things we didn't mention, and something that we thought was extremely cool, was the amount of activities that they had for the kids outside of the amenities we just mentioned. So they had their own kids club, they had their own nursery, and so those span from different age ranges. So whether you're a newborn, I think you had to be at least 6 months or older, where we had baby Olivia at 1.5 years old, had a tremendous time. They had one for the next level, so you're thinking about kindergarten to about 5th grades. Then you had one from 5th grade to about middle school. Then you had Teens Club. Teens Club had 2 different centers. They had the Teens Club Center where they had hosted different activities, different social gatherings, but they also had their own sun deck and area where they could actually get away from their parents and hang out with fellow teens. So if you do have kids and you are looking for a cruise to go on that's going to be suitable for them, I think Royal Caribbean's Wonder of the Seas is probably one of the best ships out there for you and your family. So next, let's talk about the dining options here at Wonder of the Seas. And so this is nothing short of options here on this cruise ship. And so there are said to be over 25 different restaurants and bars and lounges for you to get something that is appealing for you, regardless of the time of day. And so they had 2 different buffets. They had the main dining room that on occasion served breakfast, lunch, and dinners. They had their own Johnny Rockets there on the 6th floor. They had a hot dog stand. They had pizza that was served 24/7. We may or may not have hit that up way too frequently. They had cookies and desserts scattered all throughout the entire ship. They had specialty dining, so if you want to do hibachi grill, if you want to do a nice steakhouse, etc., that was at an extra price, but they had everything for you. And so not only do they have a ton of different options for you to choose from, but the overall dining experience was great. So we thought that the food, especially at the buffet or at the main dining room, was actually better quality than what we expected. And the service at the main dining room was exceptional. So 1, you had excellent customer service from the wait staff, but 2, the food came out super quick. And so with the main dining, you can order anything and everything on that menu. So if you were like me, I ordered 2 appetizers, 2 entrees, 2 desserts, etc., and just loaded up because why not? We're on vacation and on a cruise ship. So overall, we were extremely impressed and very satisfied and probably very full after coming off this cruise ship and dining options here at Wonder of the Sea. So next, let's talk about the overall shows and entertainment while on Wonder of the Seas. Before we do, we encourage you to download the Royal Caribbean app, because on that app, they have the itinerary that shows you what is actually playing and when, but also allows you to make reservations for these shows. And you're gonna wanna do that and plan out those shows because they do fill up, because the shows are spectacular. So they had a show called Intense in the Aqua Theater where they had people jumping from a 40-foot platform into the pool, yes, while the cruise ship is moving. They had an ice skating show, they had a song and dance show, they had a theater performance, they had a comedic performance and multiple comedy shows scattered throughout the rest of the ship. They had dancing and entertainment, and it's just an all-around party here for all ages on Royal Caribbean. And so at Wonders of the Seas, we were incredibly impressed and thoroughly enjoyed going to dinner, then to a show every single night. And that was a new show, and we didn't repeat and just had an amazing time. So this was something that we were incredibly impressed with Royal Caribbean's Wonder of the Sea experience. And so the shows and entertainment here are top notch and something that you want to make sure that you put on your itinerary when you're cruising around Wonder of the Sea. So next, let's talk about customer service on Wonder of the Seas. And so again, one of the largest ships in the entire world. And so we thought, being as crowded, being a spring break week, customer service was going to be subpar we couldn't be further from the truth. And so the customer service here on Royal Caribbean's Wonder of the Seas was absolutely top notch from every single crew member we met. So whether it be the wait staff, whether it be the people at customer service, whether it be the hospitality individual that handled our stateroom every single day, we had a top-notch experience. And so we also want to pay tribute to those that are hanging out in the Adventure Ocean or the nursery. The nursery took exceptional care of our baby Olivia. And so going on a cruise with a baby who was 1.5 years old at the time of this filming was something we were a bit nervous about, but they took absolutely great care and showed a ton of affection and love to her, where she didn't want to leave that nursery and hanging out with those people. So we're extremely thankful and extremely impressed by the overall customer service here with Royal Caribbean's Wonder of the Sea. So next, let's talk about price of this cruise. And so price is actually going to be all relative, and something that, yes, the price of a cruise is typically high, and yes, there are ways to save money on a cruise. Click the link above here if you want to know ways to get deals on a cruise ship. But that's going to depend on the length of your cruise. That's also going to depend on the stateroom in which you pick and how many people are going to be in your party and the age of that. So there are different variables that are going to go into that. But for instance, we pay roughly about $1,000 per person for our lower stateroom for the 7-day excursion. So we should note there are additional fees on a cruise. If you want to learn what those fees are here, click the link above here. And so we did end up purchasing the internet package that we were very impressed with the internet. We thought that it was lightning quick and something we needed during that trip. But again, internet was a bit expensive, but in today's modern age, staying connected is sometimes a necessity or a curse. I'll let you decide. So there you guys have it, a quick review on Wonders of the Seas with Royal Caribbean. So we were just extremely over the top impressed with our experience. So we thought that not only was this cruise ship going to be jam-packed, we thought the customer service was going to be bad, we thought this is just going to be absolutely miserable being at full capacity. We couldn't be further from the truth. And so we had a ton of different activities that we were able to do. Even though that the ship was at full capacity, we didn't feel it. So they did an excellent job of managing the crowd, and so that you could get into the dinners or the shows at the times you wanted. You didn't have to wait in line, except maybe for the water slides, but typically you have to do that at any water park or excursions anywhere else. But we just were overly impressed with the customer service, the attention to the details, the quality of the rooms, the quality of the foods, etc. So if you are looking for that next family adventure, we highly encourage you looking at doing a cruise, because cruising with your family is an absolute incredible experience. But we highly recommend you adding Wonder of the Seas to your list, because this ship was absolutely incredible. And so there you have it. I'm Matt from the Adventure Buddies. If you like this video, please consider giving us that big thumbs up. Hit that red subscribe button for more travel tips and adventures. And most importantly, remember, life's an adventure. Who are you going on it with?